You're watching Local News 8 at 10. Local people, local news.
Lori, it will end rather badly for you if you don't follow the order and do what you're supposed to do. What I see happening is she's going to quickly become a Casey Anthony.
We begin the top of the hour here with continuing coverage. As you just heard, the grandmother of J.J. Vallow says this will not end well for Lori Vallow. The time for Vallow to bring her missing kids to the Rexburg Police Department or the Department of Health and Welfare has passed.
Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell did not show up. We've yet to find out what's to come next.
So here's a timeline of some of the major events leading up to now. The last time either J.J. Vallow or Tylee Ryan were seen was at the end of September.
And then near the end of November, the Rexburg Police Department did a welfare check for J.J. at a townhouse in Rexburg. And the officers were told J.J.'s with a family friend in Arizona. Well, then they learned J.J. was in fact not in Arizona. The next day, police went back to the Rexburg townhome only to find that Lori Vallow and her new husband, Chad Daybell, had left.
Then just this last Saturday, Lori and Chad were found in Hawaii, where Lori was served with the order to bring the children to Rexburg. The next day, Sunday, search warrants were served for Lori and Chad's rental car and the house where they were staying. Now, what was found during those searches has not been released. Now, with that, we do go to Local News 8 reporter Giuliana Colina, who has been following this case. Giuliana, walk us through today and what happened there. What was the overall reaction when Lori did not show?
Todd, in a word, the reaction was disappointment. I'm standing here outside the Rexburg Police Department. Now, this is one of the locations where a judge ordered Vallow to bring her kids and prove that they are unharmed. She had until the end of business today to provide the kids, and when the clock struck 5, Vallow and the kids were nowhere to be found, leading JJ's grandmother to answer for her.
I had my hopes up, and Larry, we both had our hopes up a lot today for hopefully being able to see our grandson, and so now I'm quite disappointed. And even though I didn't have my hopes up very high that she would produce them, but you know, still I was hoping.
Kay and Larry Woodcock landed at the Idaho Falls Regional Airport last night. Just like many across the nation, they want to know the children are safe, so they came to Rexburg. When the deadline passed, Kay said she could only guess as to where they are.
I'd love to know where those kids are, and I think all of America wants to know where they are, and that all this is just beyond crazy. How do you not have them for 4 months? What kind of mother does that?
There was a moment today in the press conference where Kay needed to take a pause. It's been a stressful situation for her. But earlier today, I got the chance to catch up with her on a ride alone, away from all the commotion. Kay and Larry Woodcock, JJ's grandparents, made the trip from Louisiana on Wednesday, hoping to see their grandson, despite the odds. Deep down in your hearts, did you believe that Lori was going to bring them?
No. Absolutely not.
Authorities last spotted Vallow in Hawaii with her new husband, Chad Daybell. Woodcock says Vallow joined a group with some very unorthodox beliefs.
She's part of this doomsday group or cult. I don't know, however you want to refer to them. I don't understand her. I don't understand the concept of what they are believing in.
Woodcock tells me she believes the group has influenced a change in the Lori she once knew.
Something had to have turned off in her, because this isn't the person that I knew and entrusted my grandson with.
According to Woodcock, Vallow told her late ex-husband Charles that she didn't want JJ anymore.
Her telling him she did not want JJ anymore, and this was while he was still alive, and this was back last January, a year ago.
While the Woodcocks are turning to multiple news outlets in their search for answers, Lori's parents, Tylee's grandparents, have apparently remained silent.
They haven't been trying to reach out and to Lori and tell her to stop this nonsense. And where's Tylee, Lori? Where's my granddaughter? That is just beyond me.
Woodcock says if Lori's parents did know where the kids were, they most likely wouldn't tell anyone either.
They're the kind of parents that think that whatever Lori does is right.
Still, the Woodcocks are focused on the one positive outcome from all of this.
My mindset right now is there's no proof of life, there's no proof of death, so we're going to go with they're still alive. That's the only way I can digest things at this point.
Kay told me she'll continue to make as many trips from Louisiana if it means that there's hope she might see her grandson again. Reporting live in Rexburg, Juliana Colina.
Okay, thank you, Juliana, for that live report. Now, again, this rests with the judge at this point. We'll see what happens. Until that time, you can go to our website, localnews8.com, for any updates.
You're watching Local News 8 at 10. Local people, local news.
We begin the top of the hour with breaking news. The entire town of DuBois has been evacuated because of the Grassy Ridge fire.
Now, we've been keeping in contact with the Clark County Sheriff's Office for the latest updates. They say that the fire is now only about 3 miles out of town. A thundercell over the area is causing some strong winds and pushing it, which has forced that evacuation. The fire jumped overnight from about 15,000 acres to 60,000 acres and then again to 76,000 acres just this afternoon. Again, if you are in DuBois, you need to leave immediately. Grab what you can and then head out. You can go north or south on I-15. No word yet on when everyone can go back home.
Now, here are some closures to worry about. Red Road is closed from the Sand Dunes to Kilgore Road. Grassy Ridge Road is closed, and Clark County has also closed the A2 road to the junction of Red Road. Ranchers were being let in where it's safe to get their cows. Now, you can still travel to Kilgore by taking the Spencer-Idman Road. The Sheriff's Office is working with Bonneville County Emergency Management to set up shelters. Right now, evacuees are being sent to the Hamer Church and Hamer School. And we have Mike Collett, who is live at Hamer Elementary School right now, where some people have been evacuated to. Mike, tell us what's going on there. What do you know?
Misty, I don't know much. What you just said with the fire being 3 miles out. I've got Sandy Melanese with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, and she's got a little more information. So, Sandy, who do we have here helping out right now?
So right now we have the community of Hamer who has pulled together to accommodate the evacuees of DuBois. We also have the Lions Club, the LDS Church. We have Red Cross en route to have a liaison here for point of contact. We also have ASPR, which is a 7-county coalition organization to get sleeping cots, sleeping bags, and that is what we're in need of right now.
So you're in need of all of that. If people wanted to donate, where could they donate?
They could donate through Red Cross right now. They could bring it directly to the Hamer Elementary, and that's where we're set up right now between the elementary school and the church.
Awesome. Now, DuBois, we just said it, about 3 miles. The fire's 3 miles out from there. What about Hamer? Are we in trouble here? Are we okay? What are we looking at out here?
So right now, Hamer is safe. Earlier today, the outskirts of Hamer were in danger, but they kept the farmland safe, and the wind shifted that straight over to DuBois. So right now, we are safe.
Okay, cool. And unless you need to be here, would you prefer no outsiders come in or volunteers or?
Volunteers would be greatly needed. We are just trying to get the school set up for sleeping tonight. We have tents, and we're hopefully getting cots brought in. So volunteers, yes. Extra traffic probably would be best diverted elsewhere.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Sandy. We will have much more on our website, localnews8.com, but for now, I'm going to send it back to Misty and Linda at the desk.
All right, Mike, thank you for that update. And again, a mandatory evacuation for the town of DuBois. We'll have more on this story at localnews8.com. And really quick, I actually have a statement from one of the evacuees that was sent to me just minutes ago. And I want to read that to you here. It says, "It was a normal day. Just heard water trucks driving by. Smoke was filling the house. It was about 6:40 p.m. when the state police came to tell us we had only 25 minutes to evacuate. They said we only had 25 minutes to grab what we could and leave. We started grabbing clothes, and we couldn't believe only 25 minutes to pick up and leave. I grabbed my kids and my clothes and left. We don't know. When we will be able to go back soon. We are not given any information, just that we had to leave. I feel sad. We have so many new things in our home, and we don't want to lose our house. We don't want to start from the bottom. So now we wait and hope we have our home in town to go back to."
The Museum of Idaho looking a little different these days. Tristan Lewis shows us some mammoth changes. A bill involving your wages is set to be voted on tomorrow. We'll explain what it is, how it might affect you. And with the hype of the Oscars wrapping up, we meet some aspiring filmmakers from right here in eastern Idaho. Local News 8 at 10 starts right now.
You're watching Local News 8 at 10. Local people, local news.
Good evening, everyone. Some school closures already tonight and also some school delays that you need to be aware of tomorrow. So, South Fremont School District 215, Blackfoot Charter, Bingham Academy, Idaho Science and Technology Charter School, all closed tomorrow. They can already see they're going to have a weather problem. Blackfoot High School and Chief Tagee Elementary School also closed tomorrow. In fact, I think it might be the entire Blackfoot School District is closed tomorrow. Sugar Salem School District is on a 2-hour delay, and then they'll make a decision tomorrow morning if they have to just call it all together. Now, for the latest on closures, and they keep coming in, go to our website, localnews8.com. So, drifting snow, low visibility. We've already closed several highways in the area. State Highway 47 from Ashton to Bear Gulch, closed. US 20 from Ashton to the Montana state line, and Highway 33 from Newdale to Teutonia, closed. State Highway 34 from north of Soda Springs to the Wyoming border, closed. US 20 from Idaho Falls West to US 26, closed. And we should be getting an update pretty soon from the INL as to what your bus lanes and routes might look like tomorrow. Let's check in now with Jeff Roper. He's tracking the snow movement for us. In fact, he's up close and personal. We made him go outside. Jeff, what do you know?
Well, this is how you earn your keep,
yeah.
Okay? And lucky for me, I keep one of these in my back pocket at all times. This is a weatherman's friend. The temperature has dropped. We're at 30 degrees right now on the back porch here along the Ryrie Highway, and we've got some light snow that is flying. Let me show you radar as we get into the overnight hours tonight. You're going to see some more of this. It's beginning to break up just a little bit. Folks in Chubbuck and Pocatello reporting that they've seen some rain mixed in as well, and that's going to be the story for us as we head into parts of Tuesday. So for 4-day totals, here's what we're talking about. Blustery winds here with that winter storm warning in effect for the areas shaded around the Snake River Plain, and you get the purple, that is the winter weather advisory. That means wind conditions making it difficult for travel. A lot of these schools, a lot of these roads are going to be slick. A lot of the schools have already seen that. We're talking about 3 feet of snow by the end of the day tomorrow for Stanley, 3 feet, okay? 4 inches for Idaho Falls, less than an inch, we think, for Pocatello, but 18 to 24 inches over into Jackson, and maybe even 3 feet up towards Island Park, okay? And as we get into the course of, the first part of the week, temperature's going to warm up, and that's going to help the snow. It's going to fuel that snow. 29 overnight tonight, so that'll be the low tomorrow morning when the kids are getting ready for school if they're going. Pocatello 36 in the morning with snow around. Jackson 25, Salmon at 27, and in the afternoon, yes, snow chances continue with some blustery winds and temperatures from right around freezing in Jackson to around 38 degrees in Salmon. When I come back, we'll talk about some accumulations. I'll bring my thermometer, and I think I'll bring the shovel in too, Carol. I got to finish out here.
Hey, no snowballs for the old lady, okay? We have certain rules here, okay? Thank you very much, Jeff.
This is KIDK Eyewitness News 3.
We begin with breaking news tonight. Several law enforcement agencies responded to shots fired on the east side of Firth earlier this evening. The Bingham County Sheriff's Office has confirmed with us that a call came in that shots were fired near A.W. Johnson Elementary School. We have also confirmed that an officer or a deputy was shot and taken to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center in Firth. We understand the standoff ended moments ago and a suspect is in custody. KIDK Eyewitness News 3 reporter Mike Collett is in Firth now live. Mike, what more do you know at this time?
Todd, what I know at this time, it is a suspect from Idaho Falls, Juan Santos Quintero. He is involved in many robberies up in Idaho Falls, and he was found down here when shots were fired. He has been taken into custody. Bingham County reached out to him to negotiate. They got him out. He is in their custody tonight. Shots were fired over here. We had many law enforcement officers, Idaho Falls Police, Bingham County, Shelley Police, Blackfoot, and many SWAT agencies were down here involved in this. Todd?
Mike, we understand that some of our viewers in Fremont County, there was a soccer game not too far from there with South Fremont and Firth tonight. Was it right around that time?
It was around that time, but the shots fired were not related to the soccer game. They just got everybody out of there for their safety. They were evacuated. Some were moved inside the building. They evacuated that building later. Now, many athletes are wondering, because they left a lot of their gear there at the school, to contact Firth High School, South Fremont High School, whatever school that they attend, to get that gear. Once this clears out, people will be able to come in, get their gear, get their cars. Not many have been, because the cars are right across the street from the house that Santos Quintero was locked up in. So there are a lot of things still left here that people need to pick up.
Okay, Mike Collett reporting live from the east side of Firth for us tonight. Mike, thank you for that live report. One more time, shots fired east side of Firth, a suspect in custody. A deputy was shot, currently in the hospital at Ermac in Idaho Falls. This is still developing. They have Mike pushed back from the scene, from the area, and they are asking that people still avoid the east side of Firth near A.W. Johnson Elementary School. As this story develops, we'll have more information and post that on our website. You can find that at KIDK.com. Right now on KIDK Eyewitness News 3, a semi-truck clips the back end of a moving train, and you can see what happened.
Finally, at one point, I was just yelling out in the canyon, help, 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 hoping somebody would hear me.
A car accident on a rural road and stranded in her car. Plus, shoppers be aware, new hours at this major big box retailer might affect your next shopping trip. KIDK Eyewitness News 3 begins right now.
This is KIDK Eyewitness News 3 at 5:30.
Happening right now, crews are busy cleaning up several tons of hay bales after a semi-truck clips the back end of a train. Idaho State Police troopers are investigating the mess on Highway 33, that's just east of Sage Junction, about 15 miles west of Rexburg. ISP troopers say the semi was slowing down to a stop, but actually clipped the last train car. You can see what happened. It demolished the engine compartment of that semi-truck. ISP says the driver walked away with only minor injuries. The Idaho Transportation Department, however, has closed the road at two locations on each end, Sage Junction and the Twin Butte Road, until they get the one-ton bales cleaned up and the semi-wreckage cleared. Other news now, tonight in your Crime Watch, Idaho State Police are investigating a hit-and-run accident on I-15. It happened just after 6 o'clock last night on the northbound side between milepost 110 and 113, just south of the Love's Travel Center exit. ISP is looking for a pickup with a large front grille that they believe was involved in the crash. If you have any information, you should contact the ISP at 208-525-7277. And two drivers escaped serious injury in a separate car crash last night. And this crash happened around 6:30 last night at the intersection of 49th North and Highway 26, right near Beaches Corner, just east of Idaho Falls. Idaho State Police troopers say Amanda Butekofer of Idaho Falls failed to yield at the intersection with US 26 and was hit by Austin Winder of Idaho Falls. Butekofer then hit a highway sign, went through a parking lot, and stopped against a building. Winder was wearing a seatbelt. Butekofer, however, was not. She was taken to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center by private car with unknown injuries. A former state legislator was arrested for the second time last month for driving under the influence. Brandon Hickson, a Caldwell Republican, was arrested Saturday night by Caldwell police and booked into the Canyon County Jail. Canyon County says that he was later released. Hickson was also arrested December 9th in Meridian and charged with misdemeanor DUI and resisting arrest. He was scheduled to make his first court appearance today at 3 at the Ada County Courthouse. Funding education with a new formula. Good evening, I'm Todd Coons. Thanks for being here with us tonight. That is our top story. Idaho lawmakers have released a new education funding formula that has been years in the making. KIDK Eyewitness News 3 reporter Katie Kelleher shows us what makes this one different from the current funding formula and how it could affect your student.
The current education funding formula Idaho uses is 25 years old. Lawmakers have been working on this new formula for 3 years, and it is finally ready to be heard. After years of research, meetings, and planning, the new education funding formula is headed to the state capitol. The new formula seeks to replace the current formula, which has not been updated since 1994. The new formula will change school funding from being on an attendance basis to an enrollment basis. Idaho is one of 7 states in the nation that currently uses a resource allocation formula, meaning the state makes decisions about staffing and how much schools can spend on certain areas. This new formula will take into account various factors regarding specific students.
Additional funding will be added for student characteristics and learning environments where the student is learning. So it's much more individualized, much more local control, where the people who know those students best can make the decisions about where to focus the resources.
This has been a long process for lawmakers, partly because of how much feedback they have been seeking and receiving from districts and charter schools around the Gem state.
We have received so much feedback over the 3 years. The local districts and charters have been engaged all along the way, and we've built this in response to their concerns.
Some districts are not happy with the new funding formula. There are about 10 districts that could potentially lose money. Some could lose several $1,000s, while a couple could lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. The committee that created the formula is working to make sure no district loses money because of the change.
One of them we discovered is the Orofino School District. They have Idaho Youth Challenge Academy up there, which is a military school. We didn't realize those kids were being counted in the Orofino School District until just last month. And so there are some outliers in there, but we're going to get to the bottom of every single one and make sure that this works for every school district and charter school in the state.
There is a hold harmless period where no district or charter school will lose funding for the first 3 years of the new formula. Now, this bill has a long way to go through the legislature. It is expected to be heard first in the Senate. In the studio, I'm Katie Kelleher.
All right, Katie, thanks. There is a joint Senate and House Education Committee public hearing on this new formula bill. It will be held this Thursday at 3 in the afternoon at the Lincoln Auditorium held inside the state capitol.
Good evening. The Pocatello community is looking for whoever has been vandalizing cars this past week.
Overnight, the Kind community group shared this photo of a car that had been spray painted. The group says it belonged to Katie Mickelson and her daughter Grace. She was recognized as one of the Kind Kids winners during last year's Pocatello Kind Week. Grace was recognized for donating her birthday gifts to kids less fortunate than her. And then in another incident, another woman posted photos on her Facebook saying her car had also been painted while she was in Pocatello overnight. It has still not been confirmed whether these two cases are related. The paint color looks similar, but if anybody knows anything, the Kind community group is asking you call police.
No power meant no school today for Bonneville School District 93. The school district canceled class because of a widespread power outage in the area. The power outage started before school began this morning. By 8:40, the district decided to cancel. Superintendent Scott Wilson says that the power outage was throughout the district. There was no light for classrooms and it caused plumbing problems.
We looked at the timeline from Rocky Mountain Power. The estimate was 3 to 3.5 hours before the power would come back on. And so at that point, given those three factors, we decided it's best to cancel school for the day.
Fairview Elementary, Falls Valley Elementary, and Hillcrest High School were the only schools to not lose power. Rocky Mountain Power reports over 17,000 customers in the Ammon area were without power. Power was restored completely by noon. Idaho Power could be among the first energy companies to go to completely clean in the U.S. by 2045. The company says they will phase out coal plants and begin generating energy from solar and wind sources. Local News 8 reporter Brady Halbleib has more on how Idaho Power will do this.
An 18-year-old California teen accused of brutally murdering an 87-year-old Pocatello woman in court today. Dustin Garrett Alfaro is charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing death of Arlene Kohler. Alfaro was scheduled to begin his preliminary hearing today, but both parties agreed that because of all the evidence still being processed, they would really like to move the hearing to June 13th. Alfaro is being held on a $1 million bond. The 17-year-old male accomplice remains in jail in California. He is waiting extradition to Idaho. And in continuing coverage, the attorneys for the Wyoming man accused of killing his pregnant ex-girlfriend wants to take back his guilty plea. Eric Olson pleaded guilty to murder and manslaughter in February. Olson's attorneys filed the request to withdraw the guilty plea Wednesday. The motion hasn't been addressed by the court yet. Teton County, Idaho prosecutor Billy Sidaway says she expects a hearing will be held within the next 2 weeks. A judge will decide whether to accept the request. Olson has been held in the Madison County Jail since July of 2016 after Jennifer Nally was shot and killed at her Teton Valley, Idaho cabin. A man is in jail for trying to run away from deputies. The Power County Sheriff's Office say David Paul Williams was arrested on Tuesday, and according to the deputies, Williams crashed into more than one parked car during the pursuit, crashed his vehicle, was tased after he tried to run away. He was booked into the Power County Jail after he was released from the hospital. He is being held on a variety of charges, including possession with intent to deliver a controlled substance, eluding an officer, unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, and DUI. Bonneville County law enforcement looking for these two guys. They walked away from a work release detail. Gustavo Chavez and Skylar Briggs failed to return to the Bonneville County Jail. So if you happen to see these two guys or you have any information on their whereabouts, please call police. There's now a new way to get emergency help in Caribou County. The folks there can now text to 911 instead of having to call 911. The new public safety service has been brought to Caribou County by the Sheriff, Kelly Wells, and it's available through wireless customers of AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. Now, the dispatchers believe this is really going to benefit emergency response time. It's going to be a safer way to notify police during an in-progress event, and it will certainly accommodate those who are speech or hearing impaired.
I'm expecting great things. I think it's going to be an awesome landline for people that have struggles with us. I've gotten some hard calls where we weren't able to communicate very well, and this could have solved like a lot of the problem.
Tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll take a little closer look at how this new system works and how it really could save lives. Well, it's been a colder spring than other years, but emergency management officials tell us flooding is still on the way. Now, here's the question. Are you ready for it? Local News 8 reporter Tristan Lewis joining us now, and he shows us why getting flood insurance is so crucial. Tristan?
That's right, Carol. It is pretty crucial. Insurance agents say there's really no best time to get flooding insurance. They say if you live somewhere that is prone to flooding, it's important to get it right away. Most home insurance policies will cover interior water damage, like if a water heater were to leak. But if you have anything outside coming in, then it's considered flood, which is normally excluded on your typical home insurance. If you are someone that lives in a place that has flooding typically, you might want to get insurance as soon as possible.
So if you have a claim going right now, of course, it would exclude it if you didn't have flood insurance before. They vary a little bit, but you're anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. So if you bought it right now, you wouldn't actually have coverage for 2 weeks to a month until it actually kicked in.
Invanger says that unless the water damage happened from inside, it's not likely going to be covered by home insurance. He says that home policies typically exclude flood, earthquake, or landslide. Reporting in the studio, I'm Tristan Lewis.
That's important to know. Thank you. And Tristan's going to come back at 6 o'clock. He'll explain why emergency management officials are really concerned about potential floods coming this spring.